if a disturbance happens here, let's say a hurricane or tornado or maybe a forest fire comes through, knocks all of these things down, gets rid of the trees, well, where are we? Well, we might be back here. And so colonization and succession will slowly take place, and then the community will likely return to this climax community, this stable community. All right, so we saw this. So this would be a great example of primary succession, right? The very beginning stages. Barren rock, here we have this little lupine plant growing, and there's just nothing else around. It's kind of a miracle that this plant is even growing here. But you kind of get the idea of what we mean by a barren landscape. All right, the last thing I want to talk about in this chapter is a level of biological organization called a biome. Right? It's the largest spatial scale that we recognize ecologically. And there are two really important factors here, and they are the labels on the y and x axis, right? Temperature and precipitation. Long-term patterns of temperature and precipitation determine what type of environment you have in a given area. So if it is very, very cold and tends to be dry, I mean, there's some precipitation. Most of it's in the form of snow, right? What we have is tundra, right? Compared to areas which are very, very hot, and we go all the way over here, they're very, very wet, right? These are tropical. So you can see there's a lot of diversity. Now, look on this list here. Think of where Georgia might be, right, in terms of precipitation, whether it's rainfall or snow, and mean temperature. So mean just means average, right? So where might Georgia fall on this list, right? Where do we find it here? So this is a graphic way to show this representation of temperature and precipitation and the different environments they generate. But our book has a different type. Oh, here's another one here. So this just shows you visually where things are. Don't worry about remembering all of the names. Don't worry about remembering where they are, although it might be important to know that we are in a temperate deciduous forest. But this just gives you a sense of the distribution of these biomes. Here's what I want. So this is what our textbook has. And so this is a visual presentation of that graph that I showed you 2 slides back. See, we have temperature here, hot versus cold, and then precipitation, dry versus wet. Right, so here, tundra's right here, so sort of a medium amount of precipitation, right? Very, very cold, right? Here's hot and the intersection of very wet precipitation. So here are our tropical rainforests, right? And just by looking at the pictures here, you get a sense of all of the different types of environments that there are scattered around the planet based on this relationship between temperature and precipitation. And remember, these are long-term patterns, right? We're going to get back to this idea of long-term weather patterns. Okay, that was it for the rest of Chapter 4. I'm going to create another file for Chapter 5, and then you guys can watch these as you'd like. All right, have a good day tomorrow. Enjoy break.